Hello and welcome to the Spiral Dimension. But before Parliament begins, there is one order of business that needs to take place. Oh, classic line. They have drives, Mr. Stewart. I understand, he said, knowing they were not the only ones. Lustful drives, Mr. Stewart. I understand, said Stewart repeatedly. Good, said Miss McGee.
Don't you think that's kind of weird? Not weird, but like exciting weird.
No other kind.
Just cut out then. Everything good?
Yeah. I said,
I'm
no other kind of.
Is
there any other kind of weird?
Yes, that's a good point, Rob.
I'm glad I got here just in time for the spicy bits.
Oh yeah, we really turned it up a notch there.
You know, if I had missed you reading from Greece too, I don't know if I could have waited another week.
I'm sure there are millions, all just at the edge of their seats, just ready to pounce on a.
Right now, people are arriving a moment late, realizing that they missed out, and they are saddened and borderlining, trying to decide if it's worth going on.
Yeah,
but you know what?
I feel bad for them, frankly.
They're throwing furniture in their living room. I mean, it's crazy.
If only
I knew
YouTube had a rewind function.
Yeah, I mean, who knew that you could watch the beginning of a stream? Ooh. I do declare this. I'll press the button.
You're right.
You declare this.
How's it going, gentlemen? All right?
Good.
Okay, so let's pop into the chat and say hello. We have Las Cruces. What a surprise. I'm shocked, flabbergasted that he is the first. And then the ever omnipresent Tony? No, not even slightly surprised. And Mr. Scotty Vaughan. Good to see you, sir. And that's it for the time being. Let's. So, he knows. Let's have a look at these slides. What watch you with your eyeballs this week? Tony, let's start with you.
All right, so I've been watching. My wife wrapped up Blue Bloods. We started going back and watching Walker, Texas Ranger with Chuck Norris. And other than that, I've just been watching YouTube videos from my fellow community members. Watched a really awesome video from Rob that was pretty cool. And that's about it as far as my watching.
You can't just skip over the fact that you've started Walker, Texas Ranger. That's a classic TV show.
Well, I'm watching it again.
Of course, you've seen it before, but you really, that's a high bar of television right there.
Yeah, it's Chuck Norris, man.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Rob, what watch you with your eyeballs this week?
I was thinking about that. Obviously, I mean, I watched some wrestling on Monday. I tried to watch wrestling on Wednesday, but fell asleep as per usual. AEW is phenomenal at doing that to me.
I feel like you need to stop trying to watch it live at this point.
I've already put myself down to only watching the Wednesday show.
Yeah.
And it really just, I sit down to watch it and it's like, it just shuts off my brain, doesn't have to think, and it just goes straight into sleep mode, I guess.
Yeah. Because it was a really good Dynamite this week, and you've missed
what's crazy, I don't get past the first match. It's like I get their intro and I'm like, well, you think Will Ospreay would keep me entertained? Yeah. But no, even that's putting me to sleep because it's a 15-minute match, every 15 to 20-minute match, every single get-go. And it's like,
Very,
I
very
don't.
true.
It's like, okay, spot, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I mean, that is an interesting point about how AEW's TV doesn't hold attention in the way, because if you watch Raw now, it's the matches are short, and the talking bits are long, so you can sort of play with your phone whilst you're watching it still. Whereas with a wrestling match, you actually have to watch what's happening in the ring. So it's sort of very sort of,
and it depends on what you're into. Don't get me wrong. I like the stories. That's really, I read it, I watch it for the stories. And a lot of times, and I've always said it's like a man's soap opera, and that's so the stories are more engaging to me, whereas the matches themselves are kind of like the build up, a little bit of conflict between the match, that happened here and there, bring the story along. So, but WWE has engineered me to think that way, right? Whereas other wrestling, it's the other way around, where wrestling is key, and like we don't need a lot of story, just enough to give it excuses to why they're fighting, right? As opposed to big long build-ups and stuff where it culminates in a fight, which is why sometimes I watch some wrestling on WWE and I go, why are these two fighting? Or they do stupid stuff like at the Royal Rumble where Sami Zayn's out there concerned about Kevin Owens, or why is he doing this? This isn't part of the story.
I still don't know why they did that.
It wasn't part of the story. It's like, anyways. So I watched that. Then Thursday, I enjoyed George and Mandy's first marriage. I was watching that. Some more St. Dennis Medical. Still trying to figure out that. And of course, I finished up the first season of Godfather of Gotham.
Oh, okay.
So now it's time to move into the second season.
Whilst it's not necessarily, going back to the wrestling thing, not necessarily how I'd prefer the wrestling to be, it's not a criticism that I'm pointing that out. I think it's really smart on WWE's behalf to try and capture the people's attention by having such small segments and longer segments where you don't have to watch it. Like it's good engineering of a product.
I wish they would periodically do. So I mean, every once in a while they do some longer matches, and but I wish they wouldn't just always do the longer matches in the same spot, right, of the show. And I also wish they would mix up a few things. Like, I'm tired of knowing as soon as they go to the outside of the ring and somebody does some spot outside the ring, and that now we're going to go to a commercial.
They're going to commercial, right? Yeah.
And it's like, and then it's especially if Michael Cole's excited about the fact, or whoever's excited that they're outside of the ring, like, oh my god, that's like, okay, we're going to the commercial, and then they're going to come back and
they ramp up, and then
and then this will be completely flipped when you come back from commercial. That who's the guy who is just getting beaten outside the ring, now he's back in control of the match when you come back from commercial. It's like, what did I miss? How did he get back in control? I mean, it's a little too formulaic at times and can be annoying for a lot of people. But I feel the same. But then the same thing can be said almost of AEW if you're not a fan of that wrestling, of going like,
sure,
all right, so it's 15-minute matches, 15 to 20-minute match. Every single match is going to have 27 false finishes, and it's. And we're gonna have a couple. We'll throw somebody into barricade. We're gonna flip off the, do a suicide dive through here. And
I always find with AEW, I'm fine with it, except for when I know that a wrestler is not on the level in the hierarchy of where they should be.
Yeah.
Like, especially when I know they're not trying to really elevate this person. So if you've got a guy that's a jobber or a low mid-carder going up against the main event level, the match really shouldn't be 15 minutes long. You just squash the guy like you should.
Well, or if you're not going to squash him, you can do a 5-minute match where it's like, okay,
Exactly.
he gets in a couple good licks or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's definitely should be some more of that. They need to mix it up some, and then because they do have squash matches, but those are like less than 1 minute, and it's like, oh, okay, great, how great we built up this guy. He can kill people in 60 seconds or less, but next time when he faces somebody of anybody named, nope, now it's a 20-minute slugfest of I can't, barely getting through type of thing. And or AEW, I mean, they do things also sometimes that are odd. It's like the bookings, the way they put certain people against each other. A lot of times it's done with somebody's just going like, this would be a cool match, but this person against this person. There's not a rhyme or a reason for it. Or it's like, or sometimes it's detrimental to a character. You're trying to build somebody up for something, but now all of a sudden you decided this week that, but this guy and this guy, I'd like to see them go together. Well, one of them has to lose, but they've both been being built up towards storylines that now somebody's taking an L because you don't do as many false finishes or as many run-ins or interruptions as you do over in WWE. So now all of a sudden it's like, you just made the Hounds of Hell. You're just building them up.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that was the first thing that popped into my head was the Hounds of Hell, and the match they had at the weekend.
Great, yeah, I'd like to see that match, but not right now.
Yes, absolutely. But then I guess it is the trade-off because in WWE, repetitive interference also is very annoying in a finish.
Right, which is why you have a billion other teams out there that you could run out. It's like, okay, right now, Top Flight, you're not doing anything. You guys could come in here, you could do this, or even Private Party. It's like, okay, you guys you guys just lost your belts. You could come in and lose again. It's
absolutely okay. So really, I haven't watched an awful lot this week with my eyeballs. I did a lot.
Would you watch with your fingers?
With my fingers. I may have rubbed them against a bunch of things, but very different type of reading. Yes. Well, actually, I'm big into trades at the moment, and I've started ripping packs. And we got this Aubrey Edwards autograph card today, and Mrs. Von Hoot. Mrs. Von Hoot was the one that opened the package. I've never managed to get an autograph card out of a pack, and I give
all the autographs you get a manufactured
of
character.
Aubrey Edwards, not the top of my list, but whatever. It's one of those days.
She's an interesting one in that, like, how she of all the, she's the only she's the only referee's name over there that I could tell you the name of, and
I think there's the bald one, Mike Knox. I want to say his name is. He's like very bald. That's the only other one that I remember.
But I mean, but when she started putting on makeup and stuff to do, heavy makeup and stuff to referee matches, I was like, all right, now we're just we're going
to the audience. So I've increased my wrestling output to also watching Ring of Honor and NXT as well as AEW and WWE. So essentially, I'm deep now. I've gone back.
That's about all you had time for.
It used to be this way back in the day, where it's the only thing I did was watch wrestling, and it's slowly getting more and more like that now. I think I've watched 5 films this month. That hasn't happened since I was a child. It's a bizarre situation.
Are you also watching TNA as well?
No, that's probably the next thing to do, is to start watching TNA. But I used to watch TNA religiously, and it became so frustrating that it's put me way off from going
That's
back
fair.
to it. It was around the time AJ Styles left. I also left. I was just like, well, if you can't be bothered to keep the one guy that's great in this company, then I'm off as well. And I just never went back.
You guys got any? Are there any programs over there, local?
Nothing on TV. Triller have various of the indies that run here, like Progress and Rev Pro's got their own streaming service, but it's not on TV and it's sort of pay on demand type situation.
Got
so
it.
occasionally I'll get some of that, but not on a weekly sort of week to week basis. I finished the X-Files. That was the other thing that I did this week. I used to watch the X-Files when it was back on TV back in the day, but only like the first 3 seasons, I'd say, and then I sort of fell off like everybody else did. Or seemed to. And I watched it all now, and I can safely say that it is, it is that. It is the X-Files. So some of it's really fun and some of it's really boring. So it's a real mixed bag. But, I mean, we all love Gillian Anderson. So there is that. But that's the only thing, really, I've been watching on TV, unfortunately.
That's fair.
What read you this week, Tony?
Well, last week I told everybody that I'd watched more and read less. This week, and I should point out that I should have mentioned that I did watch the Royal Rumble as well in Raw, and I watched Halloween, the 2007 Halloween, to prep up me meeting Tyler Main in March. But I read more this week. I read a nice little stacky stack. I'm not going to sit here and show every book, but
well, we might as well show some off. I mean,
all right. Well, since you twisted my arm,
yeah.
I read some of the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. Story wise, I'm not saying that it's bad. As you can tell, I'm in it for the Scotty Young variants. I'd say it's kind of meh, and not to be, I guess I'm being a little unfair, but I keep asking myself when I read it, why? What was the purpose of the story? Besides, to sell comics, that's always the purpose. Yeah, I mean, it's been all right, but I've been in it for the Scotty Young. Read Nice House by the Sea. It's pretty good. Of course, I read the Ultimate Universe 1 year in, and the excuse me, Ultimate Wolverine. I like this. I like this more than I thought I would. I'll probably have to stick with that one. Then the finale of Nemesis Rogues Gallery. Absolutely loved it. It's going to be pretty awesome. I think there's fixing to be another one coming out called Nemesis Forever, which is going to be pretty awesome. Probably one of my top picks was the last issue of Kanto, where this ended the Shrouded Man story that started all the way back at the beginning of the first volume of Kanto. Very cool. I know they hint at future stories coming soon, but as far as the Shrouded Man story, it's done. It ended beautifully. Absolutely love it. I read Conan the Barbarian issue 17. I thought I'd actually miss some books because I was looking for 18, and apparently 17 dropped in December, 18 drops in a couple weeks. So apparently it went on like a brief hiatus. So I don't know, but I always love Conan. Pretty awesome. Art's wicked. Love it. Then I read first 3 issues of the new G.I. Joe. Absolutely loved it. Pretty awesome. Looking forward to the next issue. And I'm kind of wondering not if, but when the Baroness is going to betray the team and join Cobra. And then the last things I read on the stack was the G.I. Joe Real American Hero. And spoilers, I love the fact that I got to see Serpentor Khan get hit with a freaking rocket launcher. So that was pretty awesome.
Tremendous. I like it. That's
my next books on the stack is the last 3 issues of the Energon Transformers. I'm going to finally get caught up on Transformers.
Oh, cool. Yes. Oh, Transformers is on firing on all cylinders at the moment, and Void Rivals for that matter. Void Rivals has been really good. I like the way they're tying more and more into the Transformers as it goes on. I'm very intrigued where they go in the next issue. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah.
Rob, what read you this week?
Nothing.
Contracts.
Not even contracts.
Oh, always contracts. But I mean, do those really count?
No. I've had a surprisingly light week in that I've read one book, which was the Rocket Fellas issue 3 from this week, and I love it. I think it's a great book. I've been a bit surprised how much I like it, to be honest, because it isn't really action orientated, and it's not even remotely scary. So it's just not my usual wheelhouse, but it's very fun family book that I really enjoyed. It's got like nice sci-fi stuff happening. Very reminds me a lot of what I imagine Fantastic Four is like, because admittedly I've not read a lot of Fantastic Four, but I think it should be on everybody's pull list at the moment, because pretty much everything in Ghost Machine is really, really good. Hornsby and Halo being the one that is the outlier. I don't dislike that. I like it, but I can see why most people would be a bit sort of like, yeah, it's probably not for me. But Rocket Fellas, really fun. Really, really fun. Yeah.
I'll take a look. I just picked up the 1 in 25 of issue 1 the other day, but I hadn't seen any of it yet. Everybody keeps talking good about it though.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you'd enjoy it, Rob. Honestly, it's worth giving it a read. Probably not that 1 in 25, mind you. Like,
it just dawns on me. DVH, did we ever say hello to the chat?
We did.
Oh, okay.
We stopped at Las Cruces.
Oh
no, we got Scotty Vaughan after Las Cruces because there was only a couple of people in. But you are right. We have Evil Mike, always a pleasure, and Vogger has jumped in. Tate Prime, always a pleasure, and Efren, hello mate, and the Birdman, Kenneth.
Efren, I hope you're going to WonderCon next month, because I'm going to be there. So I hope to run into you and meet you.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, he is a delight, as we all know. Now, question time.
I don't know why that image just all of a sudden just made me laugh.
But it's good. All right, this is. I'm weirdly proud of the fact that I managed to make the background characters all sort of blurred.
Yes, that is it's so great.
That's good work on my part.
Your Photoshop abilities are far beyond mine, good sir. Especially since I only use Microsoft Word for all my Photoshop uses. Oh, so is it really even Photoshopping at that point?
Yeah, good point. Mal, question time. Editing. Well, I really don't have an awful lot to discuss. You would think that I'd come up with something beforehand, and that does happen. I think about what I should talk about, but never think of the thing to talk about. So let's have a think about what's happened this week. We've done wrestling already. That was a big story. There's this stuff with Luna, which is a bit sort of depressing, frankly.
Apparently Rob left Marvel.
Yes. Yeah. Anybody in the chat got a question they want to throw at us? I'm intrigued by these things at the moment. They're sort of taking up a lot of my mind, which is bizarre. Trading cards, I've gone back to being obsessed by them like I was when I was a kid. I don't know why. It's only wrestling cards and other weird cards. I like other weird cards too, but it's bizarre, and I don't know why. Maybe we could diagnose me.
I will say kudos to your Wrestle Crate autograph. That was awesome.
Oh yes, I was very pleased with this thing.
I love the fact that you thought that maybe we could diagnose you. Wait, well, you look like that. Come on, there's a psychology student somewhere that's just like biting at the bit. Come on, let me at him.
Yeah, good point. Well, that's a good question. Thoughts on next major MCU big bad? Well, in the immediate future, surely it's Galactus. I mean, from that Fantastic Four trailer, that's got to be the big bad. You can't. What do we think of that trailer? That's probably worth a few minutes of our time.
It was. I was never sold on a couple of especially on Pedro Pascal in that role, and I'm still not sold on him in that role. I think that the way that the whole trailer, especially when anything with Ben Grimm, just reminded me so much of so many of these AI generated videos that people are having done or like, fulfillment in Panamax, they're doing the AI. It just reminded me of that style and stuff. I mean, obviously it's probably intentional to kind of give it that kind of, since it's supposed to be taking place, 60s, whatever, to kind of give that kind of feeling, I suppose. It's definitely not what I'm used to from a Marvel film by any stretch of the imagination. Something more akin almost to what I expect when I watch, some kind of more art film, almost kind of image. Was that Asteroid City? It comes to mind. Yeah, type of thing. But yeah, so I don't know what to think of it. But Galactus is interesting. I'm always eternally hopeful for a good Fantastic Four film.
I wonder if all we're seeing in that first trailer is sort of the start of the movie, and the rest of it will take place in the regular MCU. Maybe they'll just shift over because that's a lot of CG. If you're doing a whole movie and like the buildings and everything is sort of CG'd, that's a lot and it's expensive.
It is, but I don't know. At the same time, it's kind of weird, and I mean, it is kind of weird if they're going to be in the main MCU timeline, because there's no guarantee that that's the case.
True.
That we would have gotten everything that we've talked about, and there's never been any mention of them if you're going to insert them back from that era. So it almost feels like it needs to be an alternative or a different timeline. Also,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking what was shown in the trailer is their original universe, and Galactus destroys their universe, and somehow they end up in the regular MCU universe for the majority of the movie.
And I think this is
Galactus.
Because I assume that this is at the end of this, somewhere in here is where they're going to introduce the Doom.
Perhaps. Or maybe they'll start seeding. I mean, it would make sense if it is an alternative universe that that Doom is Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom.
Exactly.
Over there already. Yeah.
And you leave that as kind of your post-credit scene or whatever near towards that stuff that's setting you up for what you're coming down the pipeline of what's going on.
My main thing that I had a problem with in the trailer, and it's not really a problem, I'm just not used to it yet, but Ben Grimm's voice being so that guy off the bear, like, and not sounding sort of how I imagine the thing to like. I sort of felt that was quite jarring, along with the CG of him. Like the CG, like when we did this with Michael Chiklis, he looked good, like, but that was practical, like to some degree.
It's hard to. I mean, Ben Grimm is one of the worst possible characters to have to try to put on film, because whether you choose to use a practical effects with some sort of suit, or whether you're going to do CG, it's just a lot of the same texture that's going to look weird because of the way that the size of those rocks and stuff that they chose to do. And they did that. It's I don't know if you can ever do a good looking thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Tony, what did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty cool, and I agree with a lot of what y'all are saying. I kind of, with Pascal being Reed Richards, I'd be surprised if he didn't work a "This Is the Way" in there, or I hope not, but I am expecting the Thing to talk about Aunt Petunia. Is it Aunt Petunia? His aunt?
I mean, that sounds right to me, but
Okay.
I'm not a Fantastic Four guy, so I don't know.
And yeah, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't sound like he's been from Yancey Street, but it's still pretty cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that's nice to have something that, with the MCU being so mid for a little while now, this genuinely could be good. It could be not good, like quite easily, but at least there's a possibility we could come out of this buzzing and excited. So that's something to look forward to. The question about the next big bad, that aside, who would you like to see as the big bad?
I don't know that I need to have a big bad. I'm fine with us not necessarily having massive crossovers. I'm fine with us having some regular movies with some different stuff, some different just regular things going on, man. I don't. Yeah, I think part of the problem's been is the build up to. Part of the problem's been some of these build ups to these. Wow, we must have a big delay.
My connection is very strange at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think that we need to have a bunch of big connections all the time. I think that's part of what was causing people to feel the burnout. It was interesting at first because it really hadn't been done to tie all these things in together, but then it became effort to keep up with everything that was going on in order to watch it. So I don't think we need necessarily to have things that go on throughout them, although, obviously for some of the stuff, like if you're going to do Avengers or something, if you feel like it, but if you're going to do it, the next, obviously you're doing what I think the rumor everyone assumes is they're doing a Secret Wars thing in there, and after that, I don't know if you need to have another big one for a while. Let it rest and simmer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that would be a way to get the brand back on track. And maybe if you're going to do a crossover, do it a long way away. Just concentrate on
do it between like two groups or something. You don't have to be everybody. You can say, "Oh, hey, okay, we're going to do a crossover Spider-Man and Daredevil or something." Whatever. But
I guess part of the problem is because of how they handled the more successful era, the audience is still expecting crossovers and surprises every single film rather than a good film.
Yeah, and I don't mind there being some, but they don't have to be galactic level or world-ending threats necessarily, right? I would be cool with some crossover stuff. Like, New York is the hub of stuff. And there's always in the comics lots of characters come and go from different things in storylines, whether it's Spider-Man or Daredevil, whatever else, because they're within a shared city, right? And there's things that are going on, and you've already got Kingpin, who's so good over there, doing something like with Kingpin and some of the other gang guys or whatever, and which can spill over to some of those street level heroes at that level, would be a fun movie. But but I don't, at least from my perspective, but I just don't want a constant, like, oh, here's a game, a threat to the entire planet, and only these people are going to save us, and we got to cross over between 27 things, and how real?
I'm completely. I'm with you, particularly because in those sort of galaxy world-ending threat type movies, there isn't very much room for actual heroing. Like, you don't really worry about an individual being hurt or stuff like that. You could, on a ground level, like some gangsters bullying a shop owner is a story you can tell. It's got threat and some superheroing in it. But you can't put that into a story with a giant world-ending monster because, there's no room for it. It doesn't make any sense. So you don't get that sort of story.
Yeah.
There's
different level heroes, and they don't need to be all trying to get into stuff. So, but
yes, but you can make a movie out of those smaller, like more contained sort of narratives. And that the MCU's really gone away from doing something on the ground level, sort of, I guess that's what Daredevil's for at the end of the day.
Yeah.
See if we can get more momentum in that sort of ground level hero sort of ideas. I'm intrigued by Captain America New World Order, or whatever they're calling it now. Brave New World, is it?
Yeah.
I
mean, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that the rewrites worry me because it came from a time before they were really paying attention to what they were putting out. And the fact it's taken so long. But that has the potential, because it is essentially Captain America the Falcon, to be more grounded. So, potentially.
I mean, I think realistically, as you think about it, like, of who's there that's really a big bad. Of course, again, it's not within the confines of the MCU or not traditional Marvel. They're not necessarily an everywhere threat, but would be bringing in some, is an Apocalypse or a Magneto on the bad side of. They're going to be more typically mutant stuff, which you got to bring in X-Men stuff for them. But I mean, otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to finally bring in Mephisto? Oh my God! I mean, it's been more fun to keep him out of it, than to bring him in.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I just don't know.
I feel like they're never going to touch Mephisto at this rate.
They shouldn't.
I mean, I don't have an opinion on it one way or the other. It doesn't bother me if it never happens, or if I get it next week, if you see what I mean. I think maybe in the sort of Agatha-y horror sort of magic area of the MCU, it might be a cool character to have involved, but if it never happens, that's fine. I don't mind.
I mean, I'd the thing is to team up some of your regular villains maybe into a team up to do something, but you have to get them aligned, and which villains do you choose? And the problem is a lot of the good ones are tied to Spider-Man, and you have to deal with Sony on, and it's like,
oh yeah, the Sony of it all.
I was going to suggest that I'd like to see the Masters of Evil. But
Who's in the Masters of Evil?
There's been different versions.
Okay.
I
I
don't
have
think
no
it's-
idea who the Masters of Evil are. Like, that's.
Well, they both most versions have been led by Baron Zemo, whether it be his dad or
Okay.
his son. And the membership has changed so much. You know, there at one point in time, and Chantress was in there, Executioner, one of the Black Knights. I don't think it was the Dane Whitman; it was another one, and then just different people. But I've always liked that. I always liked that team for some reason, and I'd love to see a Nihilus.
I just like the sound of it because I'm a big fan of Baron Zemo. I think that's a sort of street level sort of villain that.
Yeah, they
just
don't have
doesn't
to be
get a
trying
look in
to.
these days.
Yeah, they don't have to be trying to destroy the cosmos or even trying to take over the world. They're just trying
Yeah.
to.
Exactly, regular
That's what
everyday.
I'm going back to. Yeah. So let's
Uh,
stop this concept of having to have this.
Yeah, it's a interesting point. Okie dokie. Any other business? So, what are we up to, Tony? What's happening on the Comiverse channel?
Well, in just a little over an hour, over on my channel will be the final episode of Into the Comiverse for now, because I'm in the process of putting all my live stuff on hiatus for the big move that may be coming in a month or two. Big changes. We're going to be showcasing our favorite final issues, you know, either final issues of a volume or just altogether final issues, and just hanging out, BS. And hopefully we'll talk about the Royal Rumble, and we'll go from there.
Awesome, Rob. What you got coming up?
Well, Thursday was my East Bay Comic Con tour, a little local tour. Comic Con, picked up some fun books. I think it's worthwhile checking that out. Oh, good. Locke says he got the coffee I sent him. Excellent. Monday's mail call is upcoming, where I'll actually be unboxing my commission from Locke. So that will be revealed amongst other things on this Monday's mail call. So as always, check out that at Rob's Fat Stacks on YouTube.
Tremendous. I love a commission unboxing. It's just a little bit
I
more
had
exciting.
two commissions in that East Bay Comic Con thing, because I had one of them I had arranged back at Fan Expo San Francisco, and the artist on that one, he had contacted me about 3 weeks ago and said it was done, and he remembers meeting me originally at East Bay Con, and he goes like, "Oh, are you going to be at East Bay Con? Because I'm going to be there again. I'll just bring it to you there." And I'm all, that works cool. And then the other one was from Chris Marinan, who I've had him do work for me in the past. He's local, and he had done a Green Goblin for me originally. Then he had done I had him do a Hobgoblin. So I reached out ahead of time to him and said, "Hey, are you going to be at East Bay Con? Would you mind doing a demo Goblin commission so I can add that, get the trifecta hat trick?" And he was all, yeah. So it was nice to pick those up, because those little one-day cons, trying to get a full-blown commission or something done, it's impossible to do right there. You try talking to them, they're like, "Oh, I don't know about that." I was talking to Joe Chiodo about potentially doing a commission, and he was like, "Oh, I wouldn't even ask you to do it here. Don't get me wrong. I'd be like, commission and like ship later." He's all, "Oh, okay. In that case."
Yeah, I bet that's a relief for them when somebody says, "I'm a reasonable person. You don't have to do it in the next hour."
No, yeah. I mean, look, at a 3-day con or something, it's great. If you're going to do that, it's best to hit them up Friday and let them know you're going to be there all 3 days, whatever. But still, they're gonna try to work on it amongst they're on the con, they're doing signings, they're doing different things. There's lots of stuff going on, and then they go back to their hotel room, and now they're up all night doing commissions and stuff, trying to keep up with all the stuff. And so usually the stuff that you get is quick, basic stuff. And so my experience has typically been letting them know from get-go, "Hey, I don't need this right now. I'm not even, if you get it done, great. If not, feel free to put mine at the bottom of your list. Take it with you. I'll be happy. All my information's on the back of this, because I always have it already pre-labeled. And it's like, I will gladly pay for shipping to me so you don't need to worry about doing it here at the con. And 95% of the time, they've said, the artists have said, I'm going to go that route then, and I'll get you something a little bit nicer, or I'll make sure we take care of you. And generally, yeah, the quality of what you get is a little bit better than the quick head sketch or something commission you're getting there. And they know they can put it away. And if they're bored and they get no action, great, they'll work on it. But if they don't, but if they're busy, they don't even have to worry about trying to squeeze you in. And then here's the next thing. Once you do that, don't bug them. Give them some time. They're going from, especially during heart of con season, artists are going from con to con. They're doing different things. Understand, for me, it's at least 60 days before I even reach out to them. If I haven't heard from them or nothing else, I'll wait 60 days before I reach out. And at that point, I'm reaching out just simply to say, I understand that you're doing a lot of different things, just so I can properly set my expectations, so I'm not bugging you. And that's generally where and then they'll go, oh yeah, I have you on my list. They're confirming that they've got you on the list still, and it's probably going to be, they'll give you a timeline, 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is. And then that's your next check-in point if you haven't heard anything, right? Don't pester them. They've got the paid work that they are doing for these things are first. And sometimes they get called up to fill in something that wasn't on their schedule, and your commission is going to be below that because you're a nice one-time thing, but the regular gigs from the studios and everything else, that's what's the regular bread and butter. They got to make sure those deadlines are met first and foremost.
That's right. Yeah, that's all smart. I myself, I have decided to move my uploads to Tuesdays from now on for recorded videos, because I've been struggling to get them out on the Mondays. And
Monday's a crowded day.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you drop yours, and I'm always like, oh no, I'm going up against the mighty Rob Fatstack's content.
Please.
I'm joking. But yeah, so Tuesday's just as good as a Monday, so why not? I'll move it to Tuesday, and then they can be on time, and everything. There you go. Fine. I am throwing around the idea of starting to rip some cards. I know I keep bringing these up on the channel, so maybe on the Friday we'll have a video with some card rips and stuff like that. Just as a little extra. Nothing. I'm not replacing comic content. Don't worry. I'm still be unboxing that with a very bored badger next to me. You'll be fine. Oh, that was so funny in Only Slabs when you said the thing about murdering the people in the park. She's suddenly like, what, his family were murdered in a park? That's a really crazy thing to just flippantly say. I was like, Badger, it's the start of Punisher. It's his origin. It's fine.
I didn't even. It was so funny because I don't have anything ever of those like pre-ready, and I really should. And so I'm just like shooting from the hip, trying to think of another comic book, and I was like, War Machine Punisher. Okay, Punisher. Yeah, family.
I mean, I got it completely. I knew what you were doing, right. And I just she was fine. It was like, oh, I see. After I said it, but it was so funny that I thought I had to.
Yeah, no, that was fair. It was a good call. A couple other people kind of made the comment. It was like, what?
Yeah, she genuinely went, what? His family were murdered? Crazy. All right, guys. All those in favor of ending Parliament say hoot.
Hoot. Hoot.
And with that, I do declare this episode of Parliament over.
And I don't really know. Well, I suppose, no. Really what happened was